Hey, this is Miss Chocolate City, Miss CC, LT. Let's talk about it, and we're going to talk about it today. We have a show for you that is going to change history, change Omaha, change your community, change your life, change your family, change yourself. I have Mr. William Dorch, Mr. L402 himself is here.
Yeah.
And his brother also is here. He just waved. We also have my ladies here going to give a shout out, ladies. Shout out, come on, Harry, come on.
I want to give a shout out to my mom and my dad and my stepmom and my family. I love you guys.
Okay, come on.
I want to give a shout out to my family, my mom, my dad, Deborah, everybody. Love y'all.
All right, come on.
Shout out to my grandma and my uncle on my dad's side.
All right. I'm giving a shout out, much love to my family, my grandbabies, my great grandbabies, my friends, family, and loved ones. We're going to be talking about the Willie Lynch letter today, the making of a slave, and it's about a mentality. And we're going to be talking about not only the making of a slave, but with Mr. William Dorch, he was going to talk about as well on my show and his show from 6 to 8 about how to reverse this curse that we've been in for over 300 years. Before we start reading the letter, let's start off with something positive. Do we really know who we are as a people? Do we really know who we are as a people? What if there were no black people in the world? I know some people say, "Oh, honey, there'd be no shooting, there'd be no killing, there'd be no food stamps, there'd be no welfare, all that kind of stuff." But let me show you how precious and how much we help make America what it is today. What if there are no black people in the world?
This is a story of a little boy named Theo who woke up one morning and asked his mother, "Mom, what if there was no black people in the world?" Well, his mother thought about that for a moment and then asked, "Son, follow me around today and let's just see what it would be like if there were no black people in the world." "How? Now go get dressed and we will get started." Theo ran to his room to put on his clothes and shoes. His mother took one look at him and said, "Theo, where are your shoes?" "And those clothes are all wrinkled, son. I guess I must iron them." But when she reached for the ironing board, it was no longer there. You see, Sarah Boone, a black woman, invented the ironing board, and Jane E. Matt Zingliger, a black man, invented the shoelace machine. "Oh, well," she said, "please go and do something to your hair." Theo ran to his room to comb his hair, but the comb was no longer there. You see, Walter Simmons, a black man, invented the comb. Theo decided to brush his hair, but the brush was no longer there. You see, Lydia O'Newman, a black female, invented the brush. Well, this was a sight. No shoes, wrinkled clothes, hair mess, even mom's hair without the hair care. Inventions of Madam C.J. Walker. Well, you get the picture. Mom told Theo, "Let's do our chores around the house and then take a trip to the grocery store." Theo's job was to sweep the floor. He swept and swept and swept. When he reached for the dustpan, it was no longer there. You see, Lloyd P. Ray, a black man, invented the dustpan. So Theo swept his pile of dirt over in the corner and left it there. He then decided to mop the floor, but the mop was no longer there. You see, Thomas W. Stewart, a black man, invented the mop.
Theo yelled to his mom, "I'm not having any luck." "Well, son," she said, "let me finish washing these clothes and we will prepare a list for the grocery store." When the wash was finished, she went to place the clothes in a dryer, but it was not there. You see, George T. Salmon, a black man, invented the clothes dryer. Mom asked Theo to get a pencil and some paper to prepare their list for the market. So Theo ran for the paper and a pencil, but noticed the pencil lead was broken. Well, he was out of luck because John Love, a black man, invented a pencil sharpener. Mom reached for a pen, but it was still not there because William Purvis, a black man, invented the fountain pen. As a matter of fact, Lee Burdage invented the typewriter machine, and W.A. Lovett, the advanced
Printing press.
Printing press. Theo and his mother decided to head out to the market. When Theo opened the door, he noticed the grass was as high as he was tall. You see, the lawnmower was invented by John Burt, a black man. They made their way over to the car and found that it wouldn't go. You see, Richard Spikes, a black man, invented the automatic gear shift, and Joseph Gamow invented the supercharged system for the
internal combustion engines.
Internal combustion engine. They noticed that the few cars that were moving were running into each other and having wrecks because there were no traffic signals. You see, Jared A. Morgan, a black man, invented the traffic light.
Well, it was getting late, so they walked to the market, got their groceries, and returned home. Just when they were about to put away the milk, eggs, and butter, they noticed the refrigerator was gone. You see, John Standard, a black man, invented the refrigerator. So they left the food on the counter. By this time, Theo noticed he was getting mighty cold. Mom went to turn up the heat, and what do you know? Alice Parker, a black female, invented the heating furnace. Even the summertime, they would have been out of luck because Frederick Jones, a black man, invented the air conditioner. It was almost time for Theo's father to arrive home. He usually took the bus. There was no bus because its precursor was the electric trolley, invented by another black man, Elbert R. Robinson. He usually took the elevator from his office on the 20th floor, but there was no elevator because Alexander Miles, a black man, invented the elevator. He also usually dropped off the office mail at a nearby mailbox, but it was no longer there. Because
Philip
Downing, a black man, invented the letter drop box, and William Berry invented the post-marketing and canceling machine. Theo quickly learned what it would be like if there were no black people in the world. Not to mention, if he were ever sick and he needed blood.
Charles Drew,
a black scientist, found a way to preserve and store blood, which led to his starting with the world's first blood bank. And what if a family member needed heart surgery? This would have not been possible without Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, a black doctor who performed the first open heart surgery. Theo and his mother sat at the kitchen table with their heads in their hands. When the father arrived, he asked, "Why are you sitting in the dark?" "Why?" "Because Lewis Howard Latimer, a black man, invented the filament within the light bulb. So if you ever wondered, like Theo, where we would be without us, well, it's pretty plain to see. We'll be sitting in the dark."
Now, how many of you knew that we as a black people invented all those things? And remember, these things were invented when it was against the law for us to read. It was against the law for us to write. We were slaves. We were beat. We were treated worse than animals. Now, if we can do that, all this, and it was against the law, just think what we can do now if we put our heads together and start working together and making our this world a better place to be. Now, we're going to go ahead and do the Willie Lynch letter, the making of a slave. And as we said, this is what somebody said did to us. Now, do we have to let it continue? Do we have to follow it? And what can we do to make it better? And Mr. William Dorch is here to help us with that. This speech was delivered by Willie Lynch on the bank of the James River in the colony of Virginia in 1712. Lynch was a British slave owner in the West Indies. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods to slave owners there. The term lynching is derived from his last name. And I want you to remember that the worst lynchings that in the United States is here in Omaha, Nebraska. Beginning of the Willie Lynch letter. Greeting. Gentlemen, I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I should thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I'm here to help you solve some of your problems with the slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods of control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its highways in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasions. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple of miles back. You're not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you're having uprising, slaves are running away, your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit, and you suffer occasional fires, your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are? I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problems. I am here to introduce you to the method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if,
that's the magic word, y'all,
installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. Now, my methods are simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. Fear, distrust, and envy. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple list of little differences and think about them. On the top of the list is age, but it's only there because it starts with the A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, size of plantation, status on plantations, attitude of owners, whether slaves live in the valley, on a hill, east, north, west, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I should give you an outline of action. But before that, I should assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. I'll repeat that. I assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, envy stronger than adulation, and respect or admiration. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, should carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slave versus the light-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them, and never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. Now that's the greeting, the introduction. We're going to read Let's Make a Slave. Go go ahead and say something because I want to talk to him. We're going to go ahead and read Let's Make a Slave next.
And that right there was just the introduction where the Willie Lynch was actually talking to a group of people. And basically white folks. He was talking to a group of white folks. But what I want y'all to realize is that he was talking to a bunch of leaders. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't just talking to no rough racks. He was actually talking to people that can make things happen. So when I release the reversal of it later on today, I'm hoping that I will be talking to a whole bunch of leaders.
All right. We've welcomed the leaders sitting here, the shakers and the movers, those who have influence and power. And you know what? That's every last single one of you. If you have children, you are an influence maker. If you have a family or a friend, you are an influence maker. You know, you got people watching you who you don't even know watching you. You are an influence maker. Let's make a slave. It was the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature, and the slave nature in particular, with a view to practical results. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, or stone, but with men, and by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity, they needed to know the material on which they were to work, conscious of the injustice and wrong they were every hour perpetrating, and knowing what they themselves would do. That's why this is another reason why it's perpetrated. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men, and by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity, they need to know the material on which they were to work, conscious of the injustice and wrong that they were every hour perpetuating, and knowing what they themselves would do. Were they the victims of such wrongs? They were constantly looking for the first signs of dreaded retribution. They watched, therefore, with skilled and practical eyes, and learned to read with great accuracy the state of mind and heart of the slave through his sable face. Unusual sobriety, apparent abstraction, sulliness, and indifference indeed, any mood out of the commons was afforded ground for suspicion and inquiry. Frederick Douglass' Let's Make a Slave is a study of the scientific process of man-breaking and slave-making. It describes the rationale and results of the Anglo-Saxon ideas and methods of ensuring the master-slave relationship. Let's make a slave. The original and development of a social being called the Negro. Let's make a slave. Well, what do we need? First of all, we need a black nigger man, a pregnant nigger woman, and her baby nigger, a boy. Second, we'll use the same principle that we use in breaking a horse, combined with some more sustaining forces. What we do with horses is that we break them from one form of life to another. That is, we reduce them from their natural state in nature. Whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we break the natural state of independence from them and thereby create a dependency status so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure. We break the natural string of independence from them and create a dependency status so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure. You've just walked in on the reading of the Willie Lynch letters, and we're talking about let's make a slave. Cardinal principles for making a Negro. For fear that our future generations may not understand the principle of breaking both of the beasts together, the nigger and the horse. We understand that short-range planning economics in periodic economic chaos, so that to avoid turmoil in the economy, it requires us to have breadth and depth in long-range, comprehensive planning, articulating both skill-sharp perceptions. We lay down the following principles for long-range, comprehensive economic planning. Both horse and niggers are no good to the economy in the wild or natural state. Both must be broken and tied together for orderly production. For orderly future, special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the youngest offspring. Both must be crossbred to produce a variety and division of labor. Both must be taught to respond to a peculiar new language. Psychological and physical instruction of containment must be created for both. We hold the 6 cardinal principles of truth to be self-evident based upon following the discourse concerning the economics of breaking and tying the horse and the nigger together, all inclusive of the 6 principles laid down above. No, neither principle alone will suffice for good economics. All principles must be employed for orderly good of the nation. Accordingly, both a wild horse and a wild or unnatural nigger is dangerous even if captured, for they will have the tendency to seek their customary freedom, and in doing so, they might kill you in your sleep. You cannot rest. They sleep while you are awake and are awake while you are asleep. They are dangerous near the family house, and it requires too much labor to watch them away from the house. Above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. Hence, both the horse and the nigger must be broken. That is, breaking them from one form of mentality, life, to another. Keep the body, but take the mind. I said keep the body, but take the mind. We're talking about the breaking of a black man and his family, his wife and his family. The Willie Lynch letter. We have the music that you hear tonight. We want to go ahead and give a shout out, young man. Tell them who you are while you play your song. Give them a mic.
My name is Brian Anderson. I'm going to be playing music here from now on. Background. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I will be playing various musics to go along with the talking and the genre. We're going to be playing the bass guitar and the acoustic guitar. I may even get an electric, but yeah, I'm Brian Anderson, and that's what I'm here for.
How old are you?
I'm 12 years old.
Oh, he's even younger. In other words, we want to thank 12 years old, and his daddy is sitting here too. So we thank God for the strong black man. All right, all right. Go ahead and say something.
I would like to give a shout out to all the strong fathers out there and all the strong black women out there.
All right.
Yes. We need more like y'all in this world.
That's right. All right. Come on, give a shout out. Come on. Give a shout out, honey. You want to give a shout out? Hurry up, honey. Come on, hurry up. Come on. Okay, we have his little brother sitting there too. Let's get back to the letter, y'all. This is important. We want to thank everybody's participation, even on Facebook. When Mr. Dorch asked for all the comments, there's some great comments and some fantastic ideas. Let's get them implemented. In other words, break the will to resist. Now, the breaking process is the same for both the horse and the nigger, only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, there is an art in long-range economic planning. You must keep your eye and thoughts on the female and the offspring of the horse and the nigger. A brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations. Therefore, if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development, and when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you, for her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse, a female horse and an already infant horse, and compare the breaking process with 2 captured nigger males in their natural state, a pregnant nigger woman with her infant offspring. Take the stud horse, break him for limited containment. Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereby you or anybody can ride her in her comfort. Breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand, and she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind.
Complete reversal
Of the mind. Take the meanest and most restless nigger. This is the one who wanted his freedom more than anything else, and he'll do whatever it took to get his freedom. Strip him of all his clothes in front of the remaining male niggas, the female, and the nigger infant. Tar and feather him. That tar that they put down on the streets, hot tar, you pour that all over his body and put feathers on it. Tie each leg to a different horse face in opposite directions. Tie each leg to a different horse in opposite directions after you tar and feather him and strip him down. You set him on fire. You set this man on fire in front of all these black men and women and their children. And beat both horses to pull him apart. I said pull him apart in front of the remaining niggers. The next step is to take a bullwhip. If you don't know what a bullwhip is, you go to the Google and look up a bullwhip and find out what it's made from. And beat the remaining nigger males to the point of death. Beat the remaining nigger males to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him. Isn't that ironic? The fear of God? Is that how we supposed to view our God? For he can be useful for future breeding. He can be another gigolo. The breaking process of the African woman, the black woman. Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any signs of resistance and submitting completely to her will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit out of her. What they also did, and they didn't tell you when that they did quickly, when the black female woman, they took a black female that was pregnant. They took a knife and cut her stomach open, and when the baby came out, they got a mallet and smashed the baby's head against the on the ground. Killed that baby right there, so they know to be submissive. Take care not to kill her. Most of them they didn't want to kill, but that's what they did when they wanted to show submission. If you don't submit, it's happening to you. For in doing so, you spoil good economics. When a complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. She will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we should go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female nigger. We've reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. She will have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male, and she will have a limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring, and will raise male offspring to be dependent like her. See what they're doing? We have reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. She will have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male, and she will have a limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring, and will raise male offspring to be dependent like her. Nature had provided for this type of balance. We reverse nature by burning and pulling the civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone and unprotected with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reverse roles. The male is the protector and the female is to be protected, but now it's reversed. The female is the dominant and the male is no longer the dominant. And when I say dominant, I mean the protector. For fear of the young man's life, she would psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. She will train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. What have you got? You got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared. We got to reverse that, ladies. We got to reverse that. This is a perfect situation of sound sleep and economics. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, this woman stands guard for us. He cannot get past her early slave molding process. He is a good tool, now ready to be tied to a horse at a tender age. By the time a nigger boy reached the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for a long life of sound and efficient work and the reproduction of a unit of a good labor force. Continuing through the breaking of uncivilized savage niggers by throwing the nigger female savage into a frozen psychological state of independence, by killing the protective male image, and by creating a submissive, dependent mind of the nigger male slave, we have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its axis forever. Unless, I said unless a phenomenon occurs. Whoop, whoop. And that's occurred right here today. Right. Unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. We show what we mean by example. Take the case of the two economic slave units and examine them closely. The nigger marriage. The Negro marriage. We breed two nigger males with two nigger females. Then we take the nigger male away from them and keep him moving and working. Keep him away from the family. Isn't that what the welfare system, the man can't be in the family? Say one nigger female bears a nigger female and the other bears a nigger male. Both nigger females, being without the influence of the nigger male image, frozen with their independent physiology, will raise their offspring into reverse positions. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. We negotiate with her, through her, by her, negotiates her at will. The one with the nigger male offspring, she being frozen subconscious fear for his life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak, but physically strong. In other words, body over mind instead of mind over body. Now in a few years, when these two offspring become fertile for early reproduction, we will mate and breed them and continue the cycle. This is good, sound, and long-range comprehensive planning. I said we're reading The Making of a Slave, the Willie Lynch letters. But the phenomena has occurred. It's here right now. We're getting ready to break this curse.
Y'all, do y'all see how that affect us today? He wrote this 301 years ago, 1712. And it's still valid right now today.
But it don't have to be. Yes.
It do not have to be. Inside this letter, he said, this will last 300 years or better. Last year was the last year. It was we already gave him 301 years. So
we're not going to give him no more.
Right, his time is up.
All right now. Warning, possible interloping negatives. Uh-oh. To everything you have some problems. Let's see what they said the problems are. Earlier we talked about the non-economic good of the horse and the nigger in their wild or natural state. We talked out the principle of breaking and tying them together for orderly production. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female savage and her offspring for orderly future planning. Then, more recently, we stated that by reversing the positions of the male and female savages, we created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever unless a phenomenon occurred and reached its position for the male and female savages. Now, it's shifted. It's occurring right now. And we savages are the one who made all those things we read about in the what if there are no black people in the world? But they called us savages. But they're doing this to us. Who's a savage? You gonna take a man? You gonna take a man who wants to be free, beat him till he can't beat him no more, tar and feather him, set him on fire, pull him apart, and who's savage? Who's savage? Our expert warns us about the possibility of this phenomenon reoccurring, for they said that the mind has a strong drive to correct and recorrect itself over a period of time.
That right there. Can you read that part right there? Read that again.
Yes. Our experts warn us about the possibility of this phenomena occurring, for they say that the mind has a strong drive to correct and recorrect itself over a period of time if it can touch some substantial original historical base, and they advise us the best way to deal with the phenomena is to shave off the brute's mental history and create a multiplicity of phenomena of illusions, so each illusion will twirl in its own orbit, something similar to floating balls in a vacuum.
Illusions.
But it's also that they're going to take away our history. They took away our history that we invented this. They took away our history that we are the ones that are this civilization that we are in now, that we're the ones that started it. We're the ones that did the first writing system that they still can't figure out. We're the ones that had first mathematics and chemistry and astronomy. We're the ones. They took out our history so we don't know what we're doing. They tell us all we are is slaves, and all we are is slave bait and jail bait, vacuums. We got to look out for the truth for ourselves if we're going to preserve ourselves. This creation of multiplicity of phenomena of illusions entails the principle of cross-breeding the nigger and the horse, as we stated above. The purpose of which is to create a diversified division of labor, thereby creating different levels of labor and different values of illusion at each connecting level of labor. For instance, they said the house nigger or the field nigger was less than the house nigger, or the good hair is better than the bad hair, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. When in actuality, it's our differences that make us strong. There's no more beautiful race than us. There's no more beautiful race than us with all our differences. The result of which is the severance of the points of original beginnings for each sphere of illusion. Since we feel that the subject matter may get more complicated as we proceed in laying down our economic plan concerning the purpose, reason, and effect of crossbreeding horses and niggers, we should lay down the following definition of terms for future generations. Orbiting cycle means a thing turning in a given path. Accents means upon which or around which a body turns. Phenomena means something beyond ordinary conception and inspires awe and wonder. Multiplicity means a great number. Means is a globe. Crossbreeding means a horse, taking a horse and breeding it with an ass, and you get a dumb, backward ass, long-headed mule that is not reproductive nor productive by itself. Crossbreeding niggers may mean taking so many drops of good white blood and putting them into as many nigger women as possible, varying the degrees by the various tone that you want, and then letting them breed with each other until another cycle of color appears as you desire. What this means is this: put the niggers and the horse in a breeding pot, mix some asses and some good white blood, and what do you get? You get a multiplicity of colors and of ass backward, unusual niggers running tied to backward ass long-headed mules, the one productive of itself and the other sterile. The one constant, the other dying. We keep the nigger constant, for we may replace the mules for another tool, both mule and nigger tied to each other, neither knowing where the other came from, and neither productive for itself nor without each other. Our strength is in our differences. And none of us is non-productive. None of us is ass backward. And none of us is long-headed. We're smart, we're intelligent, and we are generation and curse breakers. Controlled language. crossbreeding completed for further severance from their original language. We must completely annihilate the mother tongue of both the new nigger and the new mule and institute a new language that involves a new life's work of them both. So our African languages, no, they didn't want us to speak it because we could talk, we could build, we can be free. We got to come together. We are brothers and sisters. Your language, you know, language is a peculiar institution. It leads to the heart of the people. The more a foreigner knows about the language of another country, the more he is able to move through all levels of that society. Therefore, if the foreigner is an enemy of the country, to the extent that he knows the body of the language, to the extent is the country vulnerable to attack or invasion of a foreign culture. For example, if you take a slave, if you teach him all about your language, he'll know all your secrets. And he is then no more a slave, for you can't fool him any longer. And being a fool is one of the basic ingredients of any incidents to the maintenance of a slavery system. Oh my goodness. Being a fool is one of the basic ingredients of any incidents to the maintenance of the slavery system. That means accepting everything that they tell you, that they tell you without looking it up for yourself. For example, if you told a slave that he must perform in getting out our crops, he knows the language well. He would know that our crops didn't mean our crops, and the slavery system will break down, for he will relate on the basis of what our crops really meant. So you have to be careful in setting up the new language, for the slaves will soon be in your house talking to you as man to man, and that is death to our economic system. Self-esteem is death to the economic system. Self-love is death to the economic system. Self-worth is death to the economic system of the white man, not to ourselves. In addition, the definition of words or terms are only a minute part of the process. Values are created and transported by communication through the body of language. A total society has many interconnected value systems. All the values in the society have bridges of language to connect them for orderly working in the society. But for these language bridges, these many value systems will sharply clash and cause internal strife or civil war, the degree of the conflict being determined by the magnitude of the issues or relative opposing strength in whatever form. For example, if you put a slave in a hog pen and train him to live there and incorporate in him to value it as a way of life completely, the biggest problem you have out of him is that he will worry you about provisions to keep the hog pen clean.
Ain't that called the hood? That's the hood. That's that pig pen.
All right now, tell it like it is and not like you want it to be. Get mad if you want to. Or the same hog pen and make a slip and incorporate something in his language whereby he comes to value a house more than he does his hog pen, you got a problem. He will soon be in your house. So he wants us to rent for the rest of our life instead of buy. He wants us to kill ourselves in the hood instead of buying land that we can own and pass down from generation to generation. He wants us to spend all our money on liabilities instead of assets that we can pass down from generation to generation. He don't want us to travel. He don't want us to learn another language. He don't want us to go to school and value education, which we are the ones that he copied from in the first place. We're talking about the Willie Lynch letter and reversing that. I got Mr. William Dorch here, L402 in the house. Harry Bentley, speaking in the Virginia House of Delegates in 1832, now remember, this was 1712. We're talking about 1832. Described the situation as existed in many parts of the South at this time. He said, "We have, as far as possible, close every avenue by which light may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see the light, our work would be complete. They would be on a level with the beasts of the field, and we would be safe. What do beasts of the field do? They kill each other for no, beasts of the field kill each other for food. They don't kill for no reason. Beasts of the field take care of their kids. They don't put them on dope. They don't let their husbands and boyfriends mess with the girls and mess with the boys. They will kill you first before somebody mess with your child. They don't choose men over the children or women over their children. They don't leave their children to fend for themselves. They don't leave their children unprotected. We're talking about leaders today. We're talking to the leaders today. We're talking to those who are ready to make a change for the good. I am not certain that we would not do it if we could find out the processes, and that on the plea of necessity. From Brown America, the story of a new race by Edwin R. Embry, 1931, The Viking Press. Willie Lynch letter, The Making of a Slave.
Yeah, that right there was the whole letter that he wrote. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all was actually getting that. Did y'all really understand that? Did y'all understand it?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
You did? You feel?
Hello.
She read it every Christmas?
Say that in the mic, sugar. Say it in the mic.
She reads a Willie Lynch letter every Christmas to my grandma.
Wow, shouts out to the grandma. Wow. That's crazy. Her grandma read the Willie Lynch letter every Christmas to them, man. Wow. So, you know, that's deep. So what you think about that letter?
Well, this sweetie, and I think that letter real deep in me.
Okay,
It made me think about some things like.
Speak up, honey. We can't hear you.
Well, this is Tweety, and the letter really touched me. It made me think about a lot of stuff that we do now that, cause I really didn't know none of the stuff that I learned today, so it really made me think. And I'm just gonna change some stuff, like things around what I do now.
How about you, Miss Damien?
Well, this is Damien, and I think that letter, it really made me think about, like, how people, like, when people go around team light skin, team dark skin, it really made me think how that really affects people, because, I mean, like, some people think they're better than others because they're light skin and dark skin, but really, I mean, that's history.
We're all brothers and sisters.
Yeah, and some people think if they're light skinned they look prettier, or if they dark skinned they better than each other. So yeah, it's really like a lot of stuff that's going around that.
Mr. David in the house. Come on, give us
What up, man? We got David in the building.
Hey. All right.
Man, shout out to all my black folks out there in the world. How y'all living?
All right now.
We good. You know what I'm saying? Did you want to let them introduce yourselves? Y'all want to introduce yourselves to let everybody know who y'all is?
Yeah, they've been introduced. We have Mr. Brydell playing the guitar. But Mr. Brydell playing the guitar, and everybody they've introduced themselves. But did anybody else want to give a comment about the Willie Lynch letter? Anybody else want to give comments about the Willie Lynch letter? We want to hear from Mr. Brydell's father.
Well, yeah, this is Brian, Brydell's father.
How come I can't
Strong musician over there, young up-and-coming musician here in North Omaha.
turn the house up a little bit?
This Willie Lynch letter is very inspiring. It's something that
There you go.
I'm going to implement in an annual reading in my home. It's good information. It's a way of life. Represent Omaha. One.
Do you think we can reverse that? You think we can come out the Willie Lynch letter?
Think we can? Well, through God, anything's possible. So
And that right there is the best statement ever.
All right now.
Hopefully people believe into that.
That's right. And before we read the Willie Lynch letter, I know a lot of us did not realize that what we as black people, what we did, and where would we be if there were no black people in the world. We learned that a black man invented, Mr. Lewis Howard Latimer invented the filament with the light bulb. Mr. Dale Hale Williams, a black doctor, performed the first open heart surgery. Mr. William Berry invented the post-marketing counseling machine. Dr. Charles Drew, a black scientist, found a way to preserve and store blood. I mean, there's all kind of things. And this is, you see up in the hospitals, how there's statues and monuments made to surgery and different things like that, and not one is have a black person in there. You go to all these hospitals here, they don't have that here. So we need to make monuments for our children to pass down from generation to generation, so they'll know that they came from a proud heritage too. That it just didn't start today. It's been done going on. It's been happening. And all they're doing is carrying on a powerful legacy that will never break and that will always grow stronger. Because we're not going to let this fall. We're not going to let it drop. We're going to keep getting better and better and better with age. And that's why we're here right now. That's why we're here.
So, my bad. Maybe I should turn it down a little bit. All right, man. Tonight we're gonna release the reversal of the Willie Lynch letter. You see what I'm saying? At 6 o'clock, that's when my show start. That's when we're gonna start talking about the reversal. So, she done read the letter. We wanted to talk about it a little bit, and then at 6 o'clock, that's when we're gonna talk about step for step on how to come out of this mess. Yeah.
Talk about some of the comments, what you did on the. I guess that's part of your show. We going to talk this.
I mean, we could throw some of it.
Okay, yeah. Mr. George, he went on Facebook and he asked the public, what are some things that you think we can do to reverse the Willie Lynch curse? And I mean, there were so many wonderful, oh my goodness, so many wonderful comments and great ideas, and so we're not alone. We're not alone. We have people all over who are ready to get things better for us and our people. Some of the things that people talked about is we need to have our own food production system where we have our own food. This food is killing us with all the growth hormones and things in it. It's killed us slowly but surely. We need to do that. We need to be able to have. We need to go to the different businesses. We need to go to our black businesses and support them, and go to them first. And so I said, well, it takes too far to get there. Don't tell me you don't go out of town to go buy clothes. I know so many people go out of town to buy clothes, they go out of town to party, but you can't go down the street to go and buy something out of the hood or wherever your black person has something for you to buy. And the store owners, those that have something to buy, and those that have businesses. Just because we're asking you to come to you, and don't take it for granted. You got to have some customer service. You got to be respectful. You know what I'm saying? It's on both sides. We got to learn to respect each other on both sides. There is no good and bad here. There is no my skin tone is better than yours. It's our differences that make us beautiful. The most beautiful, most powerful, most productive race in the world. It's our differences. It's our differences.
That right there was a good question. I probably should have asked that though. You said, what can we do to reverse it? Yeah, I probably should have asked that. Do y'all got any ideas?
At first I think we should get the word out and get everybody together, because it's easy if we have a group of people, and it's gonna be harder than you think to get everybody else together, because what if some people don't want to support it and stuff like that?
That's true, and we need to have our own education system, because as you can see right now, they're not teaching us this stuff. They're not teaching us this. They're not teaching us that we invented the iron. We invented the stoplight. We did the first open heart surgery. We're the one that did the first blood transfusion. They're not teaching us that. We need to have our own educational system. We really do.
Oh, go ahead.
Or supplement.
I think that, as Miss Cece was saying, Chocolate City, or
it's okay, dear. Go ahead, go.
I think that we should, how we argue of money and stuff like that. I think that should not really be important. We should just get together and start some type of foundation to help young African Americans that can't find the way and that's lost. and like lead them the right way. And I think that should be something big or whatever, and like help with the schooling, like be something after school to teach them about Black history. And Black history shouldn't happen just once a month, because we wasn't just slaves for once a month.
That's right. How old are you?
14.
All right now.
All right.
That's our future generation talking.
What about you, boss?
Well, most changes are going to start within the homes. How we raising our young black children these days. As a father of four, I can see a lot of reversing taking place as I leave here tonight.
All right now. I'm glad you brought that up, because women, you know, even though they say we strong black women, we can raise our kids by ourselves. Guess what? We should not have to. We need both the male and the female to raise our family. You need both the male and the female to make the baby. You need the male and the female to raise the child. Right. The girls get their self-esteem from their fathers, and that's why they're out there looking for love in all the wrong places, because they don't have a daddy there that say, I love you and you have some value. We need our black men to put a ring on their daughter's fingers and tell them the only man that's worth taking this finger off is the one who could do you better or try to do you better than I've done you.
That's right.
We need to have a two-parent family. We need to make a commitment to each other. If she's good enough to put your royal sperm in, she's good enough to be your queen. Okay? And if not, you need to keep it zipped up and go use all that energy to build something, so when you do find your queen, that you can build something together, and you can have your children, and you can get that y'all can build something together. For real. We need to stop all this. Really, we do.
Stop the madness.
I want to make a comment on something you said when they say now people looking, like young kids looking for love in the wrong places because like their dad's not in their life.
Right.
But sometimes people think like, yeah, my dad and my mom gonna have to say I'm beautiful. Yeah, they gonna have to say this because I'm their child. They the one who made me.
No, but you need to say, first of all, we need to learn how to encourage ourselves. Sometimes you don't have somebody to tell you that they love you. Sometimes you don't have somebody to say that you can make it. Sometimes you don't have somebody to say that, yeah, you're the best in the world. You got to tell yourself. Though if you believe in the Bible, and I know we don't have the Bible in here, Mr. Doris asked, but he said, if he said, you come today and say, I got to encourage myself. You got to encourage yourself. You didn't have a mother, you got to be your own mother. You need some encouragement from a sister, you got to be your own sister. You don't have a daddy, you got to tell yourself what you want your daddy to tell you. For real. You got to be your own encouragement. Go ahead.
I think if like some people don't have that, they don't have the dad to talk them up and like say do better or whatever. And like if you don't have that, you can just always say I'm gonna be better than what they say I'm gonna be, or I'm not gonna be what you think, or just like be the person that comes out on top.
Right. That's right. All right. Yes, sir.
Short.
I think as a people, self-esteem goes a long way, you know what I'm saying? And once you find out the information, it's not just listening to the information and finding out where we come from. It's about taking where we come from to the next level so people can see where we're going to. You know what I'm saying? We got people sitting in the building right now who have started, Dutch Boy started the L402 stores so people can have somewhere to go to get local music and get things that can uplift the community. You know what I'm saying? He brings people together without the violence. I have on about 7 or 8 of the 13 colors for peace bands. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that our people are not dying for lack of knowledge. Our people are dying for not using the knowledge that they're given to forward the movement. It's not my movement. It's not everybody else's movement. It's not even our people's movement. It's bringing everybody together. We had no choice on our age, our color, or where we come from. So, we can't use that as a crutch. You know what I'm saying? Too many black folks, or not even black folks, people just use crutches in life. You know what I'm saying? I think once we get the information and you find out what you can do with it, then put it into action. If you're not going to put it into action, then move out the way.
All right now. We like that. This is Miss Chocolate City with LT Let's Talk. We're going to go on straight into Mr. William Doris Show, L402. We thank you for tuning in. Do not leave. We're going to talk about the problem. Now it's time to talk about the solution. All right, peace.